They are also that how they will mark yoga day. This is the great this time small is small and respecting present situation. Let us mark the significant thing of yoga from our home with our family and let us follow all harmful forces. Let us make yoga more popular and our planet healthy. Thank you.
So to start with, let me introduce to our today's speaker, Mr. Praveen Kumar. He is a collection of achievements, AOL and landmark graduate, Ironman 72K Goa finisher, 3.14 HR marathoner, 100 miler ultra complete marathoner, sea swimmer, obstacle racer, triathlete, PRM finisher, corporate professional, and certified health and fitness coach. We are grateful to have you among us, Mr. Praveen, sir, and
Thank you.
you may carry on from this moment onwards.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Melville. And thanks a lot to Don Bosco. So this is a great privilege to be here and, talk about this heart rate based training. Okay. So which I followed since long. Okay. So this is, I have been following this method since last 6 years, more than 6 years. So this is what I followed, and I have achieved many things. Like as you mentioned, like I have done starting with 10K, like I have gone up to 42 kilometers. That is a full marathon. So many of you may not be aware, but some of you who are aware, so they may understand like what toughness, how tough it this kind of run it is, right? So I have finished my personal best timing, which is which we actually can claim like that is 3 hours 16 minutes. Okay. So similarly, I have achieved this 100 milers. Okay, that is called someone is presenting again. Okay. So 100 milers is 161 kilometers that I have finished in at Oxford Golf Course in some 33 hours. So similarly, like apart from running, I have also done this Ironman competition. So that I have finished at Goa. So that was a half Ironman, and that is what is the real kind of achievement which I've finished, right? So the session, basically, we will talk about the session will be quite interactive. So that's the reason. Like I have switched on my camera as well. Okay, and these are the in the background you will find the medals which I achieved. Okay, so and since the session will be interactive, so people, Melville, what you can do, like you can mute and unmute people who want to talk and directly interact. Okay, and at the same time when the question finishes, then they can be muted, right? So this is what we can actually work on, correct? And then later on, before starting uh, this session. Again, I would like to welcome all of you for this session, and a very happy International Yoga Day for all of you, right? So now, since today is a yoga day, I also do Sudarshan Kriya. So I'm a Art of Living graduate as well. So I follow Sudarshan Kriya many a times during the day, like in order to in order to, like for example, if you are doing some kind of long training run, like 30 kilometers and all. So Sudarshan Kriya can actually make you recover very fast. Okay, so that's the reason I believe in yoga. So yoga is just one part of the fitness journey. So there are many other dimensions of fitness. Okay, so this also we can discuss about during the session. So just to start with the session, let's since today is a yoga day, so obviously we should start with some pranayams. starting with some pranayams. So I will tell you the steps first, and then you can just follow that. And this is actually related to our session. Okay, so that's the reason. It is not like I'm trying to show some kind of exercises and all. So the motto behind this exercise is like, this is related with our concept. Okay, so in order to engage with the concept, we will follow that those kind of pranayams. Okay, pranayams, as we know, is it is working on the prana sakti, that is breathing. Okay, so let's start this. Okay, so how we will start it? So first of all, we will close our eyes, and some of you can, if you want, you can switch on your cameras also. And at the same time, you have to, listen my voice also very carefully, because this is the way we can connect together. Okay, on in the virtual scenario, correct? So let's do like this. Let's close our eyes, and then we have to take three long deep breaths. Okay, long deep breaths. When I say long, means it is long and it is deep and breathes, right? So like this, close your eyes, and slowly release it. Again, a second long deep breath. And third one, and last one, and release it. And after that, we will do a Bhastrika pranayam. So in Bhastrika, what we do, like we have to close our fist like this, and then we have to keep our, elbow touching our body, right? Like this. And then we have to raise our hands like this and inhale. And then while going down, exhale, right? Everybody got it? So you can actually you can use this chat box and say yes, no, likewise, right? Yeah, yeah. Okay. So we can use this chat box very often, so that we remain connected actively, right? So basically, what we are looking for, what I am looking for, is active connection and participation and acceptance. Okay, and listening. Correct. Listening is very important. Okay, listening is not what we usually understand. Okay, so let's start this. Okay, so let's pause, everyone, and let's close your fist like this, and then you have to breathe in. While going up, you have to breathe in, and while going down, breathe out. Okay, got it? So we have to do it 20 times. I will give you the counting, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So now, how's the Joes? How's the feeling now? Did you sweat a bit? You can use the chat box. How's the feel, first of all? Yeah, wonderful. Feeling refreshed. Sean is saying like that. Prajakta is saying refreshed. Okay, great. Wonderful. Yadav, Mukund Yadav is saying refreshed. Naik, Bhavika Naik is saying good. Maria Dias is saying refreshed. Okay. So what did you figure out? Like what happened? Like we have done only 5 minutes of workout and we felt refreshed. So what actually had got changed? So this is the question. You can start replying here. Yeah, battery recharged. Okay, wonderful, Hitesh. What else? So how did this battery recharge? So the question is that also, like, because see, the thing is that our body is a kind of system which is only based on our breathing. Okay, so we have already discussed early in the morning today with Pooja madam, like when we take birth, then our life starts with breathing only, right? And the oxygen we intake, and then we leave oxygen and we go away, right? So this is what happens. So every moment there is a birth and there is a death, right? So this is happening all the time. Okay, so the amount of oxygen which you are taking and which you are utilizing, okay, so this is what works for your body, right? So this is the idea. So like body is already all feeling rejuvenated only when it is the oxygen is utilized at the max, right? So this is how it works. At the same time, what happens, like during any kind of workout, there are two.
Praveen sir, you are being mute by mistake. Kindly unmute.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah, due to I think screen sharing and all, it has happened. Yeah. Okay. So now am I audible? Clear? Audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes. Kindly. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so fantastic. Thank you. So now the thing is that what I was saying, like our body is a kind of machine which works on oxygen. As a oxygen is if the oxygen is maximum utilized, then what happens? Like we feel better, we feel rejuvenated, and at the same time, with the help of oxygen, what happens inside our body? This is the major question actually, which we need to understand. Like we know that our body works on two kind of fuel, right? First is carbs and another one is fat, right? Okay, so you got it. There are two kind of fuels, right, which are available in our body. So some of you can just tell me like which is the fast fuel, like out of these two, like carbs and fat, which is the fast one? Which is the fast one? Which is the fast fuel which can give us source of energy for us? Fat or carbs, right? Wonderful. Yeah, Sean is saying carbs. So everyone is saying carbs. But the problem with the carbs is like it is in unlimited quantity. Okay, so mostly we are, having enough amount of fat available in our body, right? So even as per a study, even a person who is having, even a person who is thinnest one can actually walk 100 miles, that is 161 kilometers on the only on the basis of his fat reserves. Okay, so if he is able to burn his fat, then he can actually walk 161 kilometers, that is 100 miles. Okay, so the thing is that the beauty here is that even though like this fat is slow, but then the thing is that this can give you enormous amount of energy, okay, to run more or work more or remain active for a longer period of time, right? So now the question is, like how can we utilize this fat as an energy source? Okay, so this is where in this our agenda of discussion today is HR based training. So when we do HR based training, so then what happens, our fat reserves starts burning more. Okay, so HR based training means when we talk about since I'm a marathoner, So I usually take session and discuss with runners, right? But you people are actually students, right? So just for my information, I just wanted to know, like, which kind of workouts do you do usually to keep yourself fit? Which kind of,
Sorry to interrupt, sir. May I just a minute? Okay.
yeah, are you getting me? Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm my
Carry on, sir.
question, as a youngster or as a student, which kind of workout do you do? You people must be engaged in some kind of workout, right? Surya Namaskar, wonderful. Because today is Yoga Day, so most of the people are doing Surya Namaskar. Wonderful. So today is a Surya Namaskar day also. Wonderful. Yeah, push up. Great, great. So how does this Surya Namaskar and push up and this these things work actually? So how does it work? Like, whether you are able to reduce your weight by doing Surya Namaskar and push up and all that, crunches and squats, right? Right. Feel positive energy, right? Because your body is in action, right, Mayuri? Right. Wonderful. Okay. So now many of you have mentioned the various kind of exercise which you do, correct? But the thing is that in the same workout pattern, if you change it a bit, then it can be more productive for yourself, right? For example, if you are doing a Surya Namaskar, or for example, some of you may also do, like, staircase climbing and all that, and you change a bit of it, okay? So the way you were doing earlier, and if you change it a bit, then what will happen, the same, you can work for a longer period of time on the same workouts, okay? So this is the idea behind today's discussion, okay? So basically, when we talk about this HR dil se workout, dil se workout means whenever you are running, okay, or whenever you are doing any kind of workout, then you have to always keep a track on your heart rate, okay? So this is the idea. When you keep a track on your heart rate, and if it is elevated, so what will happen, like, the heart won't allow you to work harder, okay? And if you work hard, then it is not going to help you in the longer run, right? So this is the idea. Okay. So like, what will happen if you are working harder than the prescribed heart rate range, then what will happen, you will get injured, okay? And you will be having cough, cold, flu kind of normal kind of diseases, which you think that it is not a kind of problem with you, but that is an indication that someone is having a poor kind of health, right? So, how many of you have fallen sick of cough, cold, and flu since last 1 year? Or you have got injured during any kind of workout? So usually, you see, when I talk about these things, so when I talk about these things, then I talk from the runner's point of view. So we have seen runners who are actually, you know falling sick, or falling, getting injured very often due to the kind of, if they are not following a proper kind of a structured run, then they may fall sick, or they may get injured, or likewise, correct? So how to avoid that? In order to avoid that, we have to do, we have to make a structure, and then we have to put the structure in place, and accordingly we have to run, or we have to do workout. For example, a person who is trying to climb a staircase, for example, 200 staircases are there, and he has to climb, so he can do it in various ways. First is like, he can just start climbing the staircases in a normal manner, right? So the way we usually climb. But at the same time, what he can do alternatively, he can change this pattern, okay? And what he can do, like, he can have a track on his heart rate by using this kind of watches, which are available in market now, and keep a track. on his heart rate. Okay, and if the heart rate is going up, then he has to slow down, and then if the heart rate is going down, then he has to speed up. Okay, so this way, what is happening, like he is keeping a track of his heart rate, and accordingly he is running, or he is walking, or he is doing some kind of workout. So Mayuri Reladia is saying that no problems like this. But Mayuri just would like to know, like, what kind of workouts do you engage in general? Mayuri, over to you. Okay. So going ahead with that, I think Mayuri is not there or not listening to it. So anyway, so the point here is, because we wanted to discuss about this HR based training. So basically, we have to keep a track of this HR, means heart rate, so that your workouts are synchronized. Okay, at the same time, it is going to help you to keep yourself fit and healthy, right? So what is the difference between fitness and health? Like, for example, yeah, so Mayuri is into yoga. So basically, yoga is making you a lot of giving you a lot of flexibility, right? But at the same time, like, what are the basic needs to remain a fit and healthy person is, you have to be flexible, and you have to your aerobic endurance has to be great, and you have to be, your strength part should also be good one, right? So these are the fitness parameters. So but the same time, like, if you are going for long runs and all, some of you are here in the audiences, some of you are runners also, someone who runs here in the group. Yeah, Hitesh, right. So he may have, yeah, right. So Hitesh and yeah, Prajakta and Sohail. And so Sohail, Prajakta, and Hitesh can share, like, when they are doing any kind of running. So what are the challenges which they face, right? And how to, if they are not doing it properly, so how they are unable to overcome. Like, they feel that, sometimes, like, runners feel that, they are unable to breathe properly. Okay, right? And then what happens? They are unable to run for a longer period of time, isn't it? So how to avoid that? How to elongate this distance? Okay, so this is the point. So Hitesh, can you share something about it? You can unmute yourself. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah. Hitesh, can you share something about running from your end? Like, what kind of challenges do you face, and how you would like to overcome?
सर फर्स्ट टाइम जब मैं हाफ मैराथन प्रैक्टिस कर रहा था 21 किलोमीटर,
Mm-hmm.
मैं कुछ वाटर वाटर लेके नहीं गया था, मुझे
Mm-hmm.
एकदम से 18 किलोमीटर के बाद थोड़ा प्यास लगा, पानी का प्यास लगा, पीने का इच्छा हुआ कुछ,
Mm-hmm.
और वो रोड पे कुछ नहीं था, खाली रोड था एकदम बिल्कुल।
Mm-hmm. Correct.
हाँ तो मैं रुका सर, एक एक मतलब एक अपना होट मुंह से एक क्रिया होती है वो, आप मतलब मैं वो नाम नहीं पता, ऐसा
Mm-hmm.
हवा अंदर खींचते हैं ऐसा करके, उससे थोड़ा मतलब अपना गले में थोड़ा सा रिलैक्स हुआ उससे, मुझे मैंने
Right.
सुना था वो किया भी था बचपन में छोटे में भी,
Right. 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 Yeah.
तो वो चीज काम आई मेरे वहां पर,
Right.
मुझे
Right.
ऐसा लगता है
Yeah.
उससे, हाँ मैं
Yeah.
उससे अपने आप को मतलब ओवरकम किया।
Yeah. Right. Correct. So basically, what happened, because he has shared his experience, like, his body actually could not, sustain post 21 kilometers. So what happens, like, you lose, your this thing, like, water content inside your body, and at the same time, if the fueling is not perfect, then what will happen? You will feel like, you don't have energy to run, right? So how to avoid that, and how to, elongate, and how to go further? So this is the question. So in order to do that, what we have understood earlier also, like, if we have to go longer, then what we have to do? We have to make fat as fuel, right? So how to make the fat as fuel? So obviously, like there is a method that is called Maffetone method. Okay. So in the Maffetone method, what we they prescribe that you have to run within an HR range. Okay. So the HR range is defined by a formula that is called 180 formula. Okay, 180 minus your age, and that is your ceiling heart rate. Okay, so this is how you define your heart rate range. And even if you are doing yoga, so some of you, because we are India is a country of yoga people, right? So most of us are engaged into yoga all the time. So even if you are doing yoga, so you have to elevate your HR range, okay, till that range wherein this is prescribed, and then only it is going to give you maximum benefit, right? So this is my idea. Okay, so if yoga is not able to elevate your HR range, so then it is just a form of flexibility exercise. Okay, so this is how it works. So apart from flexibility, you obviously yoga is very important, because see, that is giving you flexibility. As we runners, we run a lot. Okay, and our body becomes rigid. Okay, so in order to overcome that rigidity, then we have to do some kind of yoga, some kind of surya namaskar, some kind of this thing like sudarshan kriya and all that. Okay, so obviously that is important. I'm not denying that fact. But at the same time, what is required, that our body is a machine which wants more and more oxygen, and it wants to burn more of fat. Okay, so that it does not feel lack of energy at any point of time, because fat is a long lasting fuel, right? So obviously if we are able to burn more fat, then we remain energized, right? So this is the idea. So how to burn more fat is the question, should be the question. Okay. So because see, when we talk about the Ironman competition or 100 milers competition, so some of you may also be looking for that, correct? So obviously the Ironman competition is looking for at least 12 hours of long endurance. Okay. So in order to keep your body energized, so obviously, because as I informed you earlier also, you have fat as a reserve which is available to you, right? And if you are able to engage that fat as a fuel, then what will happen, you will run for a longer period of time, right? And you can endure more. Okay, so this is how it works, like that. So what I was telling you, like, in order to make your body as a fat burning engine, what you should do, that you should actually first thing is like you have to do workouts as per the 180 formula, that is 180 minus your age, so that is giving you an HR range. So most of the people may be having question, like, like this kind of the watches. Okay, so this kind of watches are now very common. Okay, so everywhere you will find that there is a HR monitor in watches. Okay, so what is the utility of those HR monitors? Okay, so in order to run healthy, you have to use that function, right? So this is how it works. So aside to it, like why it is required, because see, many a times we have seen, as a marathoners, we have seen, like, people are getting injured and people are falling sick. At the same time, what happens, when two people are running and they are running at the same pace, or at the for example, half marathon they are running in 2 hours. So can we identify who is actually fit and who is healthy? Like, they are fit to run. Okay, they can run 21 kilometers, but they not be healthy enough to run. They may be falling sick very often, they may be getting injured very often. So this is the differentiation which actually we need to understand. Okay, so in order to understand that differentiation, we have to interrogate both of them, and then we will figure out that one of those marathoners who are not falling sick is more healthier, right? So this is the idea. So now the thing is that we have already discussed about the HR. Okay, so now Durga is also saying, like, we should something about the nutrition part. So obviously, like, whenever we are doing some kind of workout, so obviously nutrition plays a major role into it, correct? So at least 50%, focus should be there on the nutrition part, and then rest 50% should be there on the training part. Okay, so we will talk about the nutrition part as well. So because the thing is that what happens, obviously, in order to make our body as a fat burning engine, which should be our target. Okay, because fat is the, what we discussed, is the fast, sorry, slow burning fuel, but long lasting fuel, right? So in order to burn that fat more, then what we have to do, we have to remove the dependency on carbs. Okay, so how to remove that dependency of carbs on carbs? Because body is always looking for carbs only. Why? Because it is fast burning source of energy. Okay, so whenever, like, you are feeling dull, okay, whenever you are feeling low, then what you go for? You go for a cup of tea, or you go for a cup of coffee, right? So what happens when you do that? So what happens when you do that? At the for that moment, in that moment, like, you feel elevated, you feel full of energy due to carbs which are there. Okay, but what happens in future course of action, that if you are adding 1 spoon of sugar into that coffee or tea, then it does not feel, you don't feel good about it. In the next, whenever you are looking for the next time the same tea or coffee, then you are not feeling enough. That 1 spoon of tea is not enough for you, right? Then what do? You add another spoon of tea, right? And this is how you get addicted of the sugar, right? And sugar is nothing but pure carbs. So this is just an example. Apart from this, we have several examples during the day, like we keep on having more of carbs. Okay, so what happens, like, our body starts depending on carbs only. Okay, and then, like, our fat burning engine does not work, so it is not able to burn fat. Okay, so in order to just come out of this vicious cycle of sugar addiction, what we call it as a sugar addiction, what we have to do is there is a method that is called carbohydrate intolerance test. Okay, so in that method, what we do, like, we remove all the carbs. Okay, and then we add fat only as a fuel. Okay, so in the absence of carbs, what happens? Our body switches to this fat as a fuel, right? So how many of people have heard about this keto diet and all that? So some of you who have heard about this keto diet can correlate with this taste which I'm talking about, that is carbohydrate intolerance taste. So how many of you have heard about this keto kind of diet? I'm awaiting your reply in the chat box, please. Yeah. No, calorie, Bob, you are saying calorie deficit, burn more than what you eat, right? That is also, just a concept. I will come to that. I will discuss about that. So you mean to say that calorie in minus calorie out is equal to, your fat burning, right? Okay, so let me explain about the diet. So now come back again on this diet and food thing. Okay, so most of the time we talk about the diet plan and all that, correct? In order to reduce weight, right? So for example, like, if you visit any jungle, so what do you find? Like, in the jungle, like, there are many animals. So whatever they are eating, that is their food or diet. So there is no special, like, definition for them. For like, they cannot think like something is food or something is diet. So this is how it works for them, right? For animals. But for humans, what is happening, like, we define something as a diet and something as a food, right? So why this has come into picture? Because we have started having you know food as food as per our choice, right? And not as per our requirement. Okay, so what happens over a period of time, like we are unable to we become fat and we become obese and we are unable to burn fat. And so likewise, and there are many things which starts happening, like diabetes and ill health and all that, correct? So so then what we are suggested for is a diet plan. Okay, so we are administered a diet plan. Okay, but actually there is no such terms as a diet plan. If we keep our food proper, then that is the best thing to happen. Okay, so how to keep our food in a best manner. Okay, so in order to identify, so obviously our body, what happens, our body is a unique machine, correct? So unique digestive system, everybody is having a unique kind of system. Okay, so what happens, like if you are eating something, so that may work for you or that may not work for you. So I'm just talking about the food part of nutrition part of this training. Okay, so when I talk about this, something is working for you and something is not working for you, but in general you are unable to identify like what kind of food is working for you and what kind of food is not suitable for you. For example, you may have heard about this lactogen intolerance. Okay, so some of the kids who are actually facing such kind of issues, they are lactogen intolerant, right? So they cannot digest or they cannot tolerate milk or milk products. Okay, but in general conception is like in general concept, like we think that milk is good for everyone, right? But the thing is that and on the basis of this premises only, the mothers are actually administering them food, they are giving them milk, right? So what happens, like when something is not working for those kids, so obviously it is not going to give them any kind of benefit, and it is their energy level again will go down, right? So similar thing may happen with us also, right? So what happens usually, what we think of is like our fruits and a few items which we regard as a good food is good for us. What is the usual assumption, what we can say, right? But sometimes it may happen that those things which we think is a good one, okay, and which is edible or which is working for us may not be actually good for us, right? So in that case, what we have to do, that we have to identify which food is a good food, right? And which is working for you us, and which is actually helping us to remain energized. Okay, so in order to do that, what we have to do, we have to do a test that is called carbohydrate intolerance test. Okay, so when you do that test, then you will figure out like what is your unique food pattern. Okay, and then we will also understand that this calorie. Okay, so when then also we will understand this calorie concept also clearly. Like when we talk about this calorie deficit is like burning more calorie, that is not the actual case. So in that scenario, what will happen, like while doing that carbohydrate intolerance test, even if you are you are prescribed to have more of the fats, okay, because your body has to burn more fat, right? The fat is allowed but carbs are not allowed in that taste. So even though if you are having more of the fats, then also your body will start burning more fat. So here the calorie calculation thing won't work, isn't it? So this is how it happens, because this concept is just a concept. Okay, so something which your body is able to consume, okay, so that only it is able to burn, right? So this is how it works. So idea is like these are just a concept, these are the pre notions, okay, what we think of in order to burn our calorie, but that does not work in that manner, right? So this is all about the nutrition part which I talked about, that is carbohydrate intolerance test. So basically, why do we do that carbohydrate intolerance test? In order to burn our fat reserves. Because usually, why do we exercise? We exercise only to burn more fat, right? And burn more fat and remain energized, and at the same time remain most productive, isn't it? Right? Correct? No? So, any questions as of now? Am I connecting well, or any disconnect? So now the question is, like, apart from this, the energy which is fat is providing, what are the other benefits? Okay, so I would just like to share my screen and explain that, right? So, Melville, I do not have screen sharing, right? Yeah.
Did you find it, sir,
Yeah,
now?
yeah, yeah. I'm able to find.
All right.
Oh, window. Yeah, is it visible now? Is it visible?
Not yet, sir.
Okay, just a minute. Is it visible? Yeah, I think it is visible now. Right? It's visible, no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now what we have talked about is a type of fuel, that is carbs and fat, right? So what we also discussed about is, that we have to rely more on fat because that is available and that is what we are looking for, an objective, right? Because that is what we want to lose. Okay, right. So now we talked about this Maffeton method. Okay, so we also discussed about this distinction between healthy and fit. So for example, if you are able to do some kind of activity and another person is also able to do that same kind of activity, okay, so who is more fitter and who is more healthier? So this is the question which we need to answer very often, right? So, and then we have a slow and consistent training, like for example when we talk about this heart rate based training. And then what happens, like, if you are doing some kind of exercise and your heart rate is elevated, so what are the side effects of that? So like you will fall sick or you will get injured and likewise. But if you are doing it in a slow and consistent manner while keeping a track on your heart rate, then what will happen, the same thing will benefit you more. So for in order to emphasize again on this thing, like what happened, there was a person whose name is Johnny. Okay, so Johnny is 56 plus years old. Okay, and during this COVID scenario, what happened, he was climbing stairs and he was actually climbing stairs in order to keep himself fit, right? But he was climbing it every day. Okay, and then he was also getting tired very often. So what I advised him, like if he can change few things about the stair climbing, then what he can do, like he can climb more and he can climb better. Okay, so he could actually manage to climb double the high elevation of Mount Everest. Okay, in a very short period of time, and without getting tired. Okay, so Mount Everest height is 48 meters, right? So he could manage to climb more than 17,000 meters on a staircase. Okay, at his home, right? And then what is the another benefit is, this is a injury free training. So whatever you are doing, like even if you are playing soccer, even if you are playing badminton, or even if you are doing yoga, then also, like if you are doing this kind of this method, like heart rate based method, so what we call is dilse workout. So what will happen, like your uh, you will have enormous endurance. Okay, and to do it more, okay, isn't it? So enormous endurance to do it more and for a longer period of time. So this is how it works, okay, and this is how, if you want to, get into this athletic performances and all, then it becomes very easy for you. Okay, so for example, if you have to do some kind of competition wherein you have to uh, do long kind of long time endurance performance like 12 hours and all that, then you have to do that, correct? So now coming back to this point that is called win-win condition. So here what we are doing, like we have already discussed, like usually why do we exercise? In order to keep ourselves full of energy, right? And at the same time, we want to keep ourselves full of energy, and we want to lose fat, and then we want to remain, presenting. So at the same time, what is the beauty of this aerobic base building that is called HR monitoring is, no, your brain will start working because see, the thing is that our brain also works on oxygen, presence of oxygen. Okay, so for example, you may have seen like many a times, like if you have done any kind of long or extraneous workout, then you feel tired, okay, and you feel sleepy, and your brain also does not work in efficient manner. So in order to work on it, and in order to help your brain work better, then also what we need is more of aerobic endurance, okay. So aerobic endurance means what? Aerobic endurance means more presence of oxygen inside the body in order to burn more fat. Okay. So this is how we talk about this aerobic endurance. Okay. So the third point talks about the understanding is how HR bitcoins which are available can be used judiciously, right? For example, when we talk about this HR based training, then we think that this HR range which is given, like for example, like 180 range is there. Okay, so let's think it in a different manner. Like when you wake up early in the morning, so probably you have got your resting heart rate at somewhere 50, right? And when you start working out, then the HR elevates, okay, and it becomes 170, right? 70, and then 170 and 200 likewise, right? So for example, if your resting heart rate is already elevated, then what will happen? You won't be able to work more, like, and you won't be able to run more. Okay, this is what happens usually, and then the people get tired very easily, right? So this you may have felt very often when you try doing some kind of workout and then you feel tired. Okay, why does it happen like that? Because your heart does not allow you to work hard. Okay, and that's the reason, like you feel tired. But the thing is that just think in this manner, like if your resting heart rate is relatively low, then what will happen, like you are having more opportunity and more more available heart rate resources available with you to work and to exercise better, right? Is it right? Okay, so you can keep using your chat box. Okay, we will discuss later. And then, so obviously, when we talk about running, because I don't know how many of you are runners here, but when we talk about the running, then what happens? Like HR is also guiding, like what should be our form. Like whenever we are running, our HR is elevated, correct? So in order to keep that HR down, what we should do, like we have to keep our form correct. Okay, so when we are running, and if we are trying to keep our form very ease, and if we are taking a proper kind of food, and if we are having a control on our stress and lifestyle, then what happens? Our HR becomes low. Okay, so we can actually work more. Okay, so idea is to work for longer period of time. Okay, and then obviously when you try to in order to keep your HR low, what happens? You try to control your stress level. So during normal course of life, what happens due to your stress level, like your HR is elevated most of the time. So in order to if you want to work better, or if you want to take a proper control of your workouts, then what you have to do is like you have to keep your stress also under control, because in order to because stress is, elevates your heart rate, right? And if your heart rate is already elevated, and if you are putting add-on pressure by doing some kind of workout, which is again elevating your heart rate, then what will happen? This can have a devastating results, right? And you won't be able to work better, or work out, do some kind of workout in a better manner, right? So, and at the same time, so in order to keep your HR under control, what you have to do also, you have to keep a focus on your breathing. Okay. So breathing is also related to your HR, right? So what happens, like, just a minute. Am I visible? Okay. So what happens? Breathing is also related to your HR. So you may have seen in yoga also, like when we do a proper kind of pranayam. So what happens? Like you feel relaxed, okay, and you feel relaxed and at ease, isn't it? So how does it happen? Like how does it happen? Why do you feel relaxed while doing yoga? Some of you can answer this question. When you do pranayams, so why do you feel relaxed? Any answers? Why do you feel relaxed? Because what happens when you do pranayams, healing happens, because we give a break to mind, right, Mayuri? Right. So what happens usually when we do some kind of pranayam, so what happens, like we are giving more oxygen to our body and our mind. Okay, yes, Hitesh is right. So we are giving more oxygen to our body and our mind. And what happens if we are doing that? Then our heart rate is going down. Okay. And if heart rate is going down, body starts working a little less. And little the body, if the bodies start working little less, then what happens? Everything, the actions inside our system cease to exist. And then, we feel relaxed, isn't it? Does it make sense? Yeah. So the same thing can be applied during any kind of workout, right? So our breathing is all connected with our heart rate, right? So if we are able to, keep our breathing in control, or if we are able to keep our proper kind of, if we do proper kind of breathing, so what will happen? Our body will feel relaxed. This is as simple as that. Okay, so there is no magic in pranayam as such. So this whole idea is like, what is happening when we are engaging more of oxygen. So what happens, like over a period of time, like if the body is having more oxygen, so even the our brain also needs some kind of oxygen, right, in order to work better. So what will happen? You will feel relaxed, isn't it? And at the same time, your HR is down, right? So even the same thing applies during stressful kind of events, right? So whenever we are having a stress, so what we do? Like we take three long deep breaths, right? And this is how we feel relaxed. So technically, what happens when we take three deep breaths? So obviously our heart rate goes down. So this is as simple as that to understand. Like so what happens? Like usually when we want to run for a longer period of time, or when we want to do exercise for a longer period of time, so what should be done? Like we can also focus on our breathing, right? So, like, what do you suggest? Like, should we breathe through our mouth, or should we breathe through our nose?
No.
Nose. Wonderful. Why so? Why so? Okay. Wonderful. So why? Because nose is meant only for breathing, and mouth is meant for eating and talking, right? So you may have experienced, okay, so when you do, a kind of if you run for a longer period of time, and if you uh, uh, do mouth breathing, and mouth breathing, inhaling, exhaling, so what will happen? You will lose the moisture which is available in your body, right? This is what happens, because you may have also experienced it in practical senses also. So your mouth becomes dry, isn't it? So when you engage your mouth, then your mouth becomes dry. So in order to protect that, what you should do, that you have to train your nose more for breathing purposes, right? So what happens when we breathe through nose, when we inhale through nose? So what happens? The air which is going inside, that is getting moist. The added moisture is added to that. Oxygen, or air, right? So this is how we get, our system get moisture back, right? And apart from that, there are several, the design benefits which are available with the nose breathing. Okay, so that is the reason, like, ideally, like, we have to use our nose only for breathing. While running, how to position our hands, or how hands should move. Okay. So Durga, what I was saying, like, when we run, okay. So when we run, then the position should be such, in such a manner wherein, you have to keep your this movement at very ease. Okay. So when you are keeping at very ease, so your breathing requirement will also be less. At the same time, your heart rate will be less, right? So this is the ideal condition which we are looking for. Okay, and when we are doing like that, when we are doing easy kind of movement, so there is no ideal, pose or posture. Okay, so whatever is able to keep your breathing less, or maybe your heart rate less, is the ideal position. Okay, so that you have to check personally when you're running. Then you have to check personally, like, which is the, ideal pose or posture, wherein if you're keeping your body like that, and if you're able to keep your, this thing, uh, heart rate under control and breathing under control, then that is the ideal condition. Okay, you got you got it, Durga? You got it? Yeah. So see, and this is also, see, when we do savasana, so what happens? Why we like savasana, or why we like sleeping? Okay, we cannot, we cannot sleep like a horse by standing in a standing position. Why? Why does it? Why it does not work? So can some of you can tell me, right? Why we feel better when we lie down and sleep? Why we cannot sleep in a standing pose? Yeah, body gets proper rest. So see, my question is, like, some of animals, like horses, okay, so they sleep in a standing pose. Okay, so some of them sleep in a, lying down pose, or humans sleep in a lying down pose. So why does it, why it is a differentiation? Why there is a differentiation? Yeah. So some of you are saying that the body relaxation, feet are meant for walking and running. Body gets relaxed, right? Spine, yeah. So what happens usually? This can also be correlated with your HR, heart rate. Okay. So what happens when you lie down? Okay, and when the gravity pulls you, and when you are lie down on a normal kind of surface, so what happens? You require very less amount of breathing, right? And your HR is also less, right? So can we think in these terms also? Because if the body is taking less amount of oxygen, and if it has to walk less, and if the HR is less, then what will happen? Your body will feel relaxed, right? Getting it? Yeah. So now going, little bit back. Okay. So we have talked about the relaxation. Now going back to meditation. So what happens? How many of you have done some kind of meditation, and what is the feel? What? How do you feel, and why this kind of feeling? How many of you have done meditation? Yeah, mind gets fresh, refresh. Yeah. Yes. Correct. So, what is the reason why our mind becomes fresh and all that? What happens actually, technically? See, that is an idea. Okay, so that is an idea. So we feel that we are feeling fresh, right? Refreshed, right? So at peace. Hitesh is saying that we are feeling at peace, no thoughts, only peace, right? And right, Om Singh, we only just a minute. What is saying? We only concentrate on inner peace. Okay. So now, see, we can think in a different manner once again. Okay. Like what happens during, meditation, like your HR is going down because you have, your mind has stopped working. Okay, on in the outer area, like out of your body, right? And it has started working inside. Okay, so it has started working a little less, okay, lesser than when you sleep also, right? So even during the sleep also, like you feel that there are n number of things which are happening. Okay, there are dreams happening, right? And there are other actions happening inside the brain. Okay, so which can actually keep your HR elevated, and your oxygen, your breathing also, kind of not in sync, right? But when you meditate, so what happens again? The breathing, your breathing is also lowered again. Okay, it is, you do not take long breaths, kind of. Okay, you take a small amount of breath. Okay, isn't it? And then your heart is also has also stopped working, kind of like it has stopped a little bit action, it has stopped, right? And your body is completely at ease without any work, right? So this is the reason, like if your complete system is, at a zero level, what we can think of, at a zero level, so obviously what will happen, your complete system will feel, it will start from zero, right? And zero means what? It is a kind of reboot for a system, right? So this is what happens. So, Prajakta, this is what happens. I told you, like it is a kind of reboot. Okay, so same thing. Just think, like if the same thing can be applied during workout. So, what we can also think, like now, is like there are two stages. Like first is sleeping, and then there is a meditation, right? So this is much better. Okay, meditation is much better because you feel much more and better relaxed and at peace, right? And this is sleep, right? So same thing can be thought while being in action during workout also. Like for example, if you are doing at a high intensity workout, and if you are doing something which is actually heart rate controlled workout, so what will happen, like in this scenario you are not peaceful, you are not refreshed. Okay, and in this scenario when you are having total control on your breathing, on your heart rate, then what will happen? You feel relaxed even though you are in action, right? But the thing is that little by little this level will go up. Okay, so intensity, if you increase the intensity little by little, while having a control on your HR and HR and breathing, then you can actually work for a longer period of time, isn't it? So this is the idea. So you can correlate in this manner, like this is sleep wherein HR is high, little bit elevated, and breathing is also bit hard, okay. And this is your meditation wherein your breathing is also under control, and HR is also under control. So same thing you can think like this in workout also, okay. So if you are continuously doing a hard kind of workout, or means high intensity workout without having any check what is happening with your body, so what will happen, your body will get injured, you will get fall sick and all that, correct. But at the same time, if you are having a proper control on your HR, and having a proper control on your breathing, then what will happen, you will feel at ease, okay, and you can go longer, and here you will fall down, right. So this is how also we can understand. So what is happening here, like when we can again try to correlate here with the sleep and this meditation, okay. So obviously mind is also more refreshed during this meditative state, right. And this sleep state is still a disturbed kind of a state, okay, what we usually do not understand, right. So but the thing is that still it is little bit disturbed, okay. And similarly this is also the case, like wherein there are two states of workout. First is high intensity workout, or maybe without any having control on breathing and HR, right. And then there is a second level, which is actually having a better control on your HR and breathing. So what will happen, like you will be having a better control on your mind during this kind of training, right. So this is the idea. So the idea, just wanted to understand how many people are engaged in some kind of aerobic endurance kind of workout, for example running, swimming, cycling, and then likewise badminton, etc. Yeah, some of you can reply. Am I audible? Am I audible? Cycling, yes, badminton, right. Okay. So, whosoever is saying is talking about this cycling and running and all that. So what you can do, you can try in this manner, like for a couple of days, okay, and then just think about it, okay. So what you should do, like you should start doing the same thing. For example, if you are playing badminton, and for example if you are doing swimming and cycling and all that, correct. So what you should do, like you should start having breathing only through nose, okay. So it should be only a nasal breathing, okay. And then you will feel that your fat burning, or the fat your fat will burn more faster, okay, because the quality of oxygen which is going inside is much better, okay. And that's the reason, like you will burn more fat, okay. And at the same time your HR will also remain under control, right. So these are the things which you can do, okay. And what else? So as of now, any questions, queries for me? Did I connect well? Any questions? So I would like to just how did you practice for Ironman marathon? Yeah, wonderful question, Son. So Ironman marathon. So for example, I have been practicing this something called Maffeton method. Okay. So Maffeton method talks about this heart rate based training. Okay. So Ironman is not a marathon basically. This is an Ironman event wherein you have to swim for 3.8 kilometers in a open sea, right. and then you have to cycle for 180 kilometers, and then you have to run for 42.2 kilometers. Okay, so obviously as a corporate professional, I cannot have in this kind of liberty to practice for all these three things at the time, right? But the thing is that I was a marathoner, so running part was already good. Okay, so I was strong in running, right? So only thing what was required to work on only swimming and this cycling area, right? So for okay, Om Singh, we will come to that also. Okay, about the vegetarian diet. So let me discuss about this Ironman. So for swimming, like I was very poor in swimming. Okay, so I was a kind of uh, kind of forceful kind of swimmer. Okay, so I was just thinking ki I have to cross this long length of 50 meters in one go. Okay, but Prajakta, I will talk about that. Okay, so you can keep your question and we will discuss about it. Okay, so now I was not a good swimmer. Okay, I was a forceful kind of swimmer. So what I did, like whatever swimming I knew, I tried to unlearn that. Correct, and I found a good coach. Okay, and then whatever you want to learn in general, so you have to become one with that. Correct, this is the idea. Okay, so if you want to learn swimming, then you have to become one with that. Correct. So if you have to do yoga, then you have to become one with that. Correct. If you have to do meditation, then you have to come out of your body completely. It's the perfect kind of meditation what we can think about, right? So how to do that is only through practice. Okay, so I started swimming, and then little by little I learned it, right? And then what happened, like then in order to check that, like my level of understanding about the swimming, I participated in one Ironman competition that is called this trophy you see here. This is a trophy, MGM Triathlon. Okay, so I participated in Olympic level MGM Triathlon. So that was my first swimming triathlon. Okay, so fortunately, what happened? I finished the podium. Podium means first, second, or third place, right? So this happened, and then I felt confident about it. Now coming to this thing, like cycling part. So obviously, I was not having enough liberty to do all this kind of activities at the same time. So what I did, like I started going to my office in cycle on cycle. Okay, so from Panvel to Chunabhatti, I started traveling on cycle only. Okay, so usually the train was taking me 1.5 hour, and with on cycle also I was reaching in little less time. Okay, so 1 hour 15 minutes. So this is how I practice for cycling. So then obviously cycling and this thing swimming was done, and then this is how like I practice, and then running was already strong because I had been running since last 10 years. Okay, so I had participated in 100 milers as well, that is 161 kilometers. So what happened, so this combination was there, then I could achieve that, right? So now coming back to the question, so this is how I have prepared for this Ironman. Okay, and then I did that. And then your Om Singh Bhatti is asking, as a vegetarian, what should we eat after running, as something sometimes feels very tired? Okay, this is a good question. Om Singh ji, what I was discussing right now, like whatever the food options which you are having, so that is enough. Okay, because I am also a vegetarian. Okay, so what happens, like we are having a number of food items or food options available with us, but what also matters whether our body is accepting that food item or not. Correct, because many a times whatever you are having, so body is not receptive enough, body is unable to digest. Okay, so that is what I talked about, this carbohydrate intolerance test, wherein we have to identify which food is actually meant for us, right? So if our body is not receptive or not digesting and not giving enough energy, so what will happen? Like obviously you will feel, lack of energy, right? So this is what happens. So you need to identify which all food items are working for you, and you have to eat only those food items, isn't it? So this is a different kind of discussion altogether, which we talk about this carbohydrate intolerance test. Maybe in future sessions we can discuss about that. So that is also a big kind of discussion, long discussion. Okay. So even if you are having a number of items, then also you will feel like you are having less energy. Okay, because your body is unable to process that, okay, and provide the energy which your body is looking for, right? So as I told you, like we started the discussion only on the fat burning model of running. So when your body is able to burn more of the fat, then your body is having enough energy to run for 100 kilometers. Okay, so this is how it will work. So this is how the training has to happen, right? Om Singh ji, does it make sense? Prajakta, you are also talking about how to improve our running speed. Short, in short, I can say you have to run slow to become fast. Okay. So in order to, first of all, what you have to do, that you have to condition your body well, right? So conditioning, your aerobic and conditioning has to be improved. Okay. So in order to improve your aerobic conditioning, what you have to do, you have to definitely work on a lower HR. Okay, and you have to consistently practice that, right? And once the body is conditioned, the speed will be automatic, right? So this is how your speed, you can improve on your speed, right? Okay, and what else? How to increase strength? Okay, so strength can be of two kind. Okay, so first is this what we can call is a aerobic sorry, organic strength and inorganic strength. So when we talk about the organic strength, when you go to a jungle, then what do you find? Like there are lot many things are there, okay, and you have to climb on a tree, right? And you have to do so many kind of strength workout. So when you do so those kind of workout, so that will enhance your organic strength. Like for example, in a real world scenario, like if you have to make something or make a road or make something, and if you have to pick up a big this stone piece, then when you pick it up, then what happens, like your complete this system, complete body is engaged into that action. Okay, so that is something which we can call it as a organic workout, correct? And if you do it the same thing in a gym, so what happens, like you do this kind of gym workout, that is a dumbbell practice, so that is an inorganic workout. So what happens, your body, your this grip will be different in different situations. So what actually we should do is, like we have to engage more in organic kind of workout, correct? So for example, you can do more of rope climbing, which I do, correct? So you get a rope, and you climb it like a monkey, right? And this is how you can increase your organic kind of workout. Or maybe you can take a rod and you can try to bend it, right? So this is a kind of organic workout. Okay. And apart from that also, like there are few other prescriptions as per the Maffetone method, which you can follow, and in order to increase strength, right, Gaurav? Okay, and what else? Is there any time to do yoga? Payal is asking, is there any time to do yoga? Means, yeah, yoga. See, usually you feel that in the morning before having breakfast, you feel it better, right? So ideal time is obviously morning, because your brain is also at ease, and you can utilize more of oxygen, and your body is also relaxed. So obviously that is the ideal time. Okay, that is the reason. Or otherwise, what is my ideal time is post long running. Okay, for example, if I run at 30 kilometers, so body is completely drained. Okay, So body is looking for some kind of relaxation at that point of time. So if you do that yoga, so what will happen, obviously the body is under extensive kind of workout, and if you do yoga, then you can easily, your body will feel relaxed, and it at the same time, like when you have already engaged your body in this kind of extraneous workout, then yoga will relax your body in a much better way. Okay, so this is how it is. How to increase, Alka ji, Dr. Alka is asking how to increase running speed. So that we have already discussed. Okay. So when we talk about the speed, so speed, how to increase speed. So like the body, if your body is able to allow you to increase the speed, then only you can increase the speed. For example, if your heart is not allowing you to increase the speed, then you cannot increase. Correct. So, like in this HR based training, what we talk about is, you have to run slow in order to get fast, right? So, what is happening when you run slow? When you run slow, then your body get conditioned, okay, and HR becomes the driver of your complete system, okay. So if HR, if you are able to control and having a proper kind of connection or control on your heart rate, then only you can run better and faster. So, for example, if I talk about this, my running performance, then 6 years back, like my timing for half marathon, that is 21.1 kilometer, was around 2 hours, and now I could manage to do it in 1 hour 30 minutes. So I was not doing any kind of speed workouts and all that, right? But the thing is that I have been doing most of the time I spent on long duration of in this aerobic conditioning. Okay, so I was trying to engage more into aerobic conditioning. So I have been running every day, okay, without stopping. So but the thing is that whenever I'm running every day, then obviously, like, it has to be, it has to depend on my heart rate. Okay, so if heart rate is elevated, so obviously my speed will be low, right, Dr. Ulka? So apart from that, see, when you do this marathon method, then you have to run within that heart rate range for a to for this aerobic conditioning. So your body will become automatically strong, and then you have to do MAF test. Okay. So when we talk about the MAF test, what we do, like there, we run for 5 kilometers. Okay. So every kilometer we take down the speed and we take down the heart rate, right? And when you if you have done correct kind of aerobic training or conditioning training, then what will happen at the end of the run? Okay, in at the end of the fifth kilometer, what will happen? Your speed will go up and HR will go down. Okay, so this is what we are looking for actually. So as the as we progress during the run, our heart rate goes on it is getting elevated, okay, all the time. So this is not the ideal case which should happen. So when you do that map test, so what should happen, like with the increment of distance and the speed, your heart rate should go down. Okay, so this is how you will come to know that whether your training is in a proper direction or not, right? Dr. Alka, is it right? Am I audible? Hello. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Dr. Alka, while practice math. Yeah, right. So, I would just like to share, like, screen. Just a minute. Just a minute. I will just give you an idea about how does it work, right? Just a minute. Is this visible? Is this visible?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So this is actually for runners. So they can correlate much better with this chart. Okay, with this picture. So, Dr. Alka, you can just correlate here. Like, for example, when my you see this laps is the number of laps, that is number of kilometers, right? So 1 till 21 kilometers. So this is a half marathon distance which I did day before yesterday. Okay. So what is happening here? When I run at a slower pace, okay, like for example 6:34 means 6 minute 34 second, right? So my average HR is 128. Are you getting this point clearly, everyone? Some of you can respond so that I feel connected. Getting it? Are you getting it? I cannot see the screen, the chat window.
Yes, sir. We
Okay.
got.
Okay. So what I'm trying to correlate what is happening with our body, right? For example, if I'm running the first lap, so with this pace that is 6 minute 34 minute per kilometer. Okay. So what is happening with average HR, that is 128. So as I increase the space, so 524 pace, that is 5 minute 24 second. Then HR is also rising, right? 136. So similarly, it keep on rising, correct? So ideally, what should happen as it rises, at the pace is rising. So HR, if I am able to control the HR, or if I am able to keep a control on average HR, average heart rate. Okay, so what will happen? Like my body will feel relaxed, isn't it? So the beauty here is you will also find as the running progressed, my speed has gone up. Okay, so I started with a pace of 6:34, right? 6 minute 34 second, right? And the space has gone up, like it has become 4 minute 25 seconds. Okay, so 2 minute improvement of the pace. Rather, in general, what is happening? Like the pace goes on decreasing, isn't it? For 21 kilometers. Am I right? Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is what happens, because if you are training with this thing, like with this marathon method, so your pace will go increasing as you progress during the run, right? Okay. So I could not zoom it, but am I able to? Can I share it here or otherwise in the picture? Okay, for a better understanding, right? So Melville, have we crossed the time limit or what?
Yes, sir. We'll just answer a few questions now, if there are any. Most of them are already been answered.
Yeah. So benefit of skipping,
So
yeah, most of the questions I have already answered. One question here which I am finding is a benefit of skipping and with respect to heart rate. Okay. So benefit of skipping, it is also a good question. See, if you want to skip and if you want to skip longer period of time, so obviously what you have to do is you have to breathe through your nose, right? And you have to keep a proper track of your heart rate. Okay, so if you are if you are able to do that, then you can actually skip more and more. Bhupendra, you got it? Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so what will happen, as I told you in the picture also I have shown you, like if you will skip a little slower initially, and then what will happen? Then your HR will remain low, okay, and gradually you have to increase, this thing, like what you can say, the frequency, okay, and then your HR will be HR will increase like this, okay. So this is the ideal condition. So it should not be like this, okay. The HR should elevate like this, it should elevate like this, okay. So ideally, like whenever we are running, so then also like we should focus, like there should be three part of the running, okay. For example, there should be a, this warm up, okay. There should be a warm up. And what should be the warm up? For running, warm up should be a slow jog, and maybe walking, okay, so that your HR is rising gradually, right? And then there should be a running, and then you have to again, you have to do a cool down, okay. So the running should be, done in a three phase manner, right? So these are the three parts of running. So similarly, any kind of workout what you do, so it should have three parts, okay. For example, if you're doing this is skipping also, then it should have three parts. So initially you have to skip little slower, okay, and then you have to skip little fast, and then at a normal frequency or speed, right? And then gradually when you are cooling down, then also you have to do the same thing in a reverse manner, okay. So this is the ideal way to do the workout, right? And if you are doing this, then you will figure out that next day you are able to recover better, and you are able to skip more. And this is how it works, right? And at the same time, what we discussed about, you have to engage more this nasal breathing, right? So with the nasal breathing, your HR will again remain, under control, and you will feel less thirsty also. That also you can observe over a period of time, right? So even if you are not having water, for example, for 30 kilometer of distance, I do not require water intake, right? So this is how it works, because body is having enough, body is able to uh, uh, utilize the water content which is available at the max, right? This is how it works. So similarly, like for 30 kilometers of the run during COVID times, I was running, so I was, and very early in the morning, not getting in touch with anyone, and before anyone wakes up, I was returning home, right? So this was the pattern which I was following. So obviously there is no tables which are available in outside, right? So I had to depend on my fat, this thing, fat reserves only, okay. So if I'm able to burn more fat, then I can run more longer, right? And obviously I was not having any kind of, water support during the run, so I had to manage like that also. So this is how it works, correct? Any other questions? I think we have only 2 minutes left now. Yeah, Hitesh, thanks a lot.
So by this note, I guess we should conclude our today's session.
Yeah. Yes.
Before we go, there was certain point that we need to take care. It is also celebrated as World Selfie Day.